if I had the choice of being with somebody when they were small and riding with them until they were big, or dating somebody and they're already super successful, I would choose the second one, just because of that simple fact that when I know somebody's successful, I know that they have already the 50 options, but they're choosing me.
Right.
I feel like when you're starting from the bottom, I'm the only option, and then you still need to choose me when there's 50 other options. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like Chemical X. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. To all our hotties and all of our haters, because you know that's the only two people listening to this podcast.
For sure, and I think there's more haters than there are hotties.
I'm not gonna lie.
No offense.
No offense. Thankfully, we only have like 2 dislikes per video, so the haters, they don't make themselves known, but we know you're there, babies. We got a lot of hotties though. Love you. I'm Veronica, as usual, and I'm with my superhero sidekick, Alessia.
Hi, Alessia, also known as Alediandra. So if you're wondering why I'm in gloves today and you're listening on video, was because we're going out after, and I just said, might as well dress the part right away.
Might as well put on your...
It's a snowstorm outside. If you think I'm going to start bringing 35 outfits for different events, like, this is what I'm wearing now, and then this is what I'm wearing out. So...
100%.
You get both.
Perfect. I'm in my Nike tracksuit, ready to run out of here. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and, you know, follow us on Spotify.
So I know now we do a quote a day.
Okay.
So my quote for today is, and it's for all women and men.
Okay, so everyone...
Like normally what our quotes are for.
Right.
So my quote for today is, if a man wants to see you, he will see you.
Facts.
So that's my quote.
Perfect. I agree. I feel like it's coming from a personal place. We'll dive into that later. We'll dissect that later.
For sure.
I clearly got a lot on your mind here, Alessia.
So that's my quote, because I feel like as women, we tend to all do this, and we're all guilty of it in a way. We like to make excuses for men, and we like to not believe what is
clearly written
very clearly there, because we don't want to look bad, and we just want to believe the best, which is something women have. We like to nurture, and we like to, you know, just believe. And we almost believe our lies. So I'm just here to let you know that if you're wondering why a guy hasn't messaged you, or why you haven't seen someone, and you start getting to the point where you start like going, oh wait, was it me? Is it because I did? No, sweetie. If a guy wants to see you, he will see you.
If a guy wants to...
Bye guys, going and cry.
Honestly, it's so true though. And the same goes for a girl, because I've been in positions where, you know, I know like somebody's confused about my actions, and they're like, and they'll even say like, oh, and then you play the game of like, no, it's just because I'm so busy, and you give your excuses, you give your bullshit. But at the end of the day, if I wanted to see you, I was going to make time to see you. So you should never be confused about how somebody's feeling. Like if you're confused whether they like you or not, whether they want to see you or not, chances are they don't.
Because, I mean, not even chances, they don't.
No, they just don't.
Like, this is straight up.
If they're really into you, you'll never be confused.
You'll never be confused. And that's even, like, when you start talking to a guy, even if he likes you and you're like, I don't know what went wrong. It's like, no. Like, a guy who wants to be known that he likes you is going to do everything to let you know.
It's so true.
You're never going to be wandering, confused, like, I'm not sure where we're at. Like, no. If he wants you, you'll know.
100%.
So my guy doesn't want me. Is what we're saying. Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. You brought this upon yourself. You came in here hot.
It's fine. You know, the name of the game is you get ghosted, you ghost the next person.
Well, you're in your funeral outfits. Like, you're mourning the relationship already.
That's right.
Grieving. She's in her grieving mode, guys. All she's missing is, like, the mesh over her eyes.
Next thing you know, you find out I killed him. If I can't have him, nobody can have him.
100%, that's you. 1000%.
We'll keep that quote for next week.
I'm going to keep leaving you to the quotes, you know, that are coming out of your personal pain and experience.
Yeah.
I don't have a quote. I'm going to be honest. I don't.
It's fine.
I don't.
I think mine is so solid.
Yeah.
That it stands for like the next month.
100%.
Next week, I'm saying the same thing. I want you to know. If a man wants you, you won't hear about
A
it.
little more emotion next week, too. It's going to be worse because 2 weeks,
Well,
you know,
there
they
might be
haven't
like
heard.
a couple tears, you know?
Oh, okay. That's,
But
you know,
who
3
knows?
episodes from now.
Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe next week you're going, like I said, if he wants you, you're going to know. And I know, baby. He wants me. Everything changes one day from the next.
In a week, who knows?
Who knows?
You post one bomb picture and then all of a sudden, he wants me, I don't want him. Oh, I'm over you. Oh, wait. You?
But there's nothing that makes you want somebody more than them not wanting you. I'm going to be real.
I'm going to be real with you. That's where I'm at.
It's crazy.
I've never wanted someone more.
Suddenly when they want you, you're like, ew, I don't even like you.
Yeah.
You're ugly, actually. Wait, I wanted you? I was begging you to text me back?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I feel like in the past, if that would happen, I'd be a lot more like, I would dwell on it for a little longer and it would affect me for like a bit more. I feel like now it's like, I get over it a little easier.
I think...
Is it when you just get burned so many times?
No, I was going to say something but it's not going to come out right. I was going to say, I think because you have many options. You know, you're not like there's not one guy on the roster here. It's like, okay, well, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. But we know that whenever there's a roster, there's always one you want the most.
The other
and
ones
then the
are just
rest
to fill
you're
the time.
just using.
And the rest is like when he's not texting you back, you go text the other ones.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry,
Just-
I forgot to answer this.
Just so your self-confidence can be boosted. So, speaking of my roster... So, there's a guy that I had, like, matched a long time ago on Raya. And by the way, guys, just to update you, I haven't been on Raya in, like, so long.
How long? 1 week.
No, like, pretty long.
2 weeks.
I use Raya more, like, if I'm traveling and I want to, like, see someone, you know?
Okay.
But now, like, since I'm in Montreal, I know that there's damn nobody I want in Montreal. So, no reason to connect with anyone.
She's putting her distance 150 kilometers away.
Why open Raya if I'm going to see Montreal people?
100%.
Just go on Instagram for that.
Perfect.
So I had matched with this guy like a while ago. And he had the same name like my ex-boyfriend. So I already knew then it was never going to work.
Never gonna work.
It's never gonna work. But like, why not go down the same path that burned you, right? What's up? So he's actually planning on coming to Montreal next weekend. And I'm literally shivering. Not because it's cold. Definitely because it's cold, but also because I don't know how to be a tour guide in my own city. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is there to do realistically in Montreal right now with COVID? Look, we could go skiing one day, but I'll be on the baby hill because I'm not even good at skiing. So I'll be doing pizzas the whole day while he's on, you know, the diamonds. And then we do like, some good dinners. What do I show him in Montreal?
The restaurants where we have maximum amount of people that get sit per table. Also winter, like don't visit me in Montreal in our darkest times. Like what the fuck? Like
guys, I'm
are
out
you
of funeral
joking?
right now. Like what do you
like what do you want me to what am I working with here? Like at least come and have something to show you.
The only time I'm down to show people Montreal is literally in the summertime.
Yeah.
For those 2 weeks of summer, that's it.
The 3 days of summer, come for a weekend, sure.
Yeah.
But then at that point, my
that-
time is so limited. I'm not spending it with you. Get the fuck out. Come another time. Come in winter. Never mind. I pedal it back.
Like, they come in the summer and I still don't really know what to bring them. But you go, okay, sangrias, get wasted, patio. That's it. That's Montreal. Old Port, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, come in the wintertime, I actually don't even know what to show him. That I have anxiety that I think I'm going to tell him, like,
Don't come.
don't come. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think I'm going to say don't come.
Well,
And also, like, when you have somebody come out of town, it's like, I have a life. Like, don't think because you're going to come for the weekend 4 daes that I'm booked up. Like, first of all, I'm working now.
yeah.
And, like, do you have any other friends here? Like, it's a lot to commit to.
For sure.
You know? Like, is this guy going to be okay being alone in the city if I can't see you?
Well, even when I have, like,
It's a lot of pressure.
Traveling, I made a lot of friends, and don't get me wrong, guys, I have no problem when I go to their city saying, hey, I'm in your city, let's go out. I have no problem.
Yeah.
But when they come here, hey, I'm in your city, I'm like, I'm really busy. Sorry. Like, I genuinely, I don't know what to do.
And we're nice about it. Like, we always say, if ever you come into my city,
100%.
like, message me, like, I'm
Don't
your
fucking
girl.
message me.
And then that minute when they actually take you up on that offer, you're like, yeah, I'm actually, like, I can't. Sorry.
But there's so many things. It's like, first of all, I'm so busy. if you think like the maybe one night a week I have to go out, I'm gonna go out with you, somebody I never see, and I have to tour guide, and I have to not have fun, and I have to strategize, and I have to then I'm stressed because I hope you have a good time. I'm forcing you to have a good time that I'm not having a good time, and then the next day you're saying, hey, I'm free again because I have no fucking friends. Like,
I'm gonna be honest.
No.
Everything makes sense now. I'm gonna be real. If it was the guy who's ghosted me and he said he was coming to Montreal, I'd figure it out. Straight up. I think it's very clear. It's very clear what's happening here. I don't like him.
If she wanted to, she would. If she wanted to, she would put on her tour guide hat and she would show you the city. Well, I used to talk Montreal so up to people when I was traveling in Australia. And then, like, the few times people have come, like, I've literally been like, here's, The one time somebody came, I brought them to Time Out Market. I was like, they could have given me a bit more of advance of time. I could have made some reservations. I don't know.
And also, like, he comes next week and I obviously want to book, like, the best restaurants. Where am I booking? Everyone's been deprived for so long. You think they're giving me a reservation? Like, it's not happening.
It's not happening.
So, we're going to be eating at McDonald's. And I'm pretty sure that's worldwide, so. But you know what they say? McDonald's tastes different in every city. Doesn't taste the same in Italy.
Well, like you said, Julep could take him, you know. You
Yeah,
could clean your car.
Fuck, what if I don't like him? Then we're eating burgers in a car? And that's like, really, you have to converse.
When you start Googling what to do in Montreal, that's when you know, like, you're going, we could go skating. You like skating? There's a museum. Leave. Yeah. Stay home.
Yeah, I just realized right now I'm going to let him know he's not coming.
Tell him, just be like, look, I had to dig out my car today for 3 hours. I don't think it's a good time for any of us. I don't think the planes are working, actually. I think they canceled the flights. So, speaking of the fucking snowstorm today, Montreal always does that thing where you think you're out of the woods. It's like starting to get hotter. You're getting those days of like 3 degrees. You're like, okay, I could put my sneakers back on. I could throw my jacket away. Boom, snowstorm, 10 feet of snow. You're like, I hate this.
And that is just life.
It's just
curveballs.
Fucking you in the ass. Like, it's crazy. My car, I'm not gonna lie, it almost didn't make it yesterday. My heating wasn't turning on. I was like, okay, listen. My door wasn't opening. I had to punch my gas tank
open. The brand name of your car, BMW, sounds so nice, and your key works really great at the restaurant. But the rest, that shit doesn't fly.
Stays parked. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's gonna be staying parked. So today I'm driving in the worst traffic I've ever seen in my life, and I'm just like staring in front of me, and I see a guy get out of, we're at like a red light, but it's like traffic, right? So it's like very backed up. There's a lot of cars. So there's a truck driver and like, not a big truck, but like, you know, a small truck, okay? Gets out of his truck, and it's like, you know, the truck where you have to climb down from the truck. Goes to the car beside him. By the way, guys, we're at a red light, okay? We're all driving, okay? We're at a red light. Goes to the car beside him, opens the back door of the car, and now I realize before he opens the door that the door wasn't closed properly. Like, I could see from where I am that the door wasn't closed properly. Opens the car door, says something, I guess saying your door wasn't closed properly, and closes the door and gets back in his truck, and everyone keeps driving. And I'm like, hold on, like, I get it, you're nice by getting out of your car and closing the door, but like, no offense, if you did that to me, I would be like, what the fuck? Like, excuse me? You're at a red light, somebody opens your back door? Like, get the fuck out.
Wait, why are they opening your back door?
Because the door wasn't closed properly, so he went to like fix their door and like close it properly. But like, I would have been like, hey, your door, like, I'm not getting out of my car to open your... And what, risk getting beat up?
Can I be honest? I think he did it for his own OCD. It's kind of like that moment where you're just like, I gotta fix it or I won't be able to like...
Well, like, no offense. That's something like, you don't know the response
you get out of a red light, it turns green, and all of a sudden you get run over. And what are they saying at the funeral? I had to close his door. Like, what?
But I was so confused. Like, I was like, that's something like, don't touch my stuff. Like, leave my door open. Maybe I wanted it open. Yeah. Like, you know, when you see something like, you see somebody's like trunk open or something, and you never know, like, should I close it? Like, what if they have a problem and I'm here fucking it up? Like, it's always better you don't fucking touch it, you know? Situations like that, it's like, at what point is being nice just creepy? Like, what are you doing? Get out of my car. Excuse me.
There are so many things that people do that were like, oh, nice, borderline, creepy.
But it's crazy
like, why are you walking me home?
You want to see where I live? No, babe, I just don't want you to walk home alone. I'm good from here, thanks. You can watch me from here. Close your eyes. Oh, which building do you live in? Why do you want to know? I just want to see if we're neighbors. But you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, like gentleman, but no thank you.
Yeah, like, I'll take it.
But then
if
he
you don't do it, I'm
offer.
pissed.
But then he doesn't offer to walk you home. Fucking, like, no respect.
The line between nice and fucking creepy is invisible, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, another thing is, like, you want to do a nice deed. Like, yesterday I'm driving and it's a snowstorm.
You wanted to get out of the car and close someone's door?
Absolutely not. See, I would absolutely not do that. Like, I think I'm nicer by letting you deal with your own shit. Like, I'm being respectful. Like, you got your issues, babe. Like, I'm here for you.
Honestly, yeah.
You know? Like, don't touch my stuff. I wanted my door. I knew it was open. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
The fuck? What if I had a problem with my door and now you just ruined it forever?
Yeah.
So I'm driving and I see, like, a hitchhiker on the side of the road. It's a snowstorm. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad. But, like, hopefully someone else picks you up. Because, but, like, no offense. Like, I love you. I want to do the good deed, but I don't want to die. I don't know who's coming in my car. Like, who am I to be picking you up? Who am I?
So, it's there are so many times where I see hitchhikers and I go, I want to be nice.
I want to. But I'm not going to lie. I'm not picking you up.
I read a story where once a hitchhiker was picked up and then he killed the driver. So I'm like, you know what? If it comes to my own harm, I'm gonna... And to all the hitchhikers who have done it and it's ran smoothly, like, the percentage, I'm sure, to it being okay to not is probably higher, but I don't know.
I've seen movies. I've seen movies.
Exactly.
That's all I needed to know. And it's like, I feel bad for, like, I'm looking at you, I'm like, wow, like, you're stuck in the snow. Like, I genuinely want to help you, but, like...
Is it stereotypical to say, like, if it's more of, like, a man and, like, he's more, like, no one could break me, then, yeah, like, pick him up. But, like, who knows? You get him in and he pulls out a gun and he says...
Well, no, I would be more likely to pick up a girl.
No, I'm saying, like...
Oh, if I was a guy.
If you were a guy and you were in the driving
100%.
seat...
I would pick anyone up.
And, you know, you're not a stick. You're also, like, you can fight for yourself.
If I had a gun in my glove compartment, I would be picking up the whole town. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have safety around me. Like... I mean, who am I to be the bus driver? Like, who am I? I'm not the girl. Where are you going? Sorry, that's out of my way. Sorry, my car's actually on 12 kilometers of gas. My house is 8 kilometers. I'm not going to make it the other 5 that it's going to take.
Well, that's another thing. Like, I'll drive you, but I'm going the route of my casa.
Oh, yeah, like, I'm not going one street over. Like, it better be on the way.
Yeah.
If you have to get off on the 15, you're getting off on the 15. But, like, I genuinely feel bad, and I genuinely look at things and I go, like, even another thing is when I see somebody stopped on the side of the road, like, they're having issues with their car. It's like, I want to stop, but who am I? I'm adding to the problem. I'm stopping to say what? Hey, you need anything? They're going, yeah, free to get the fuck out. Are you CAA? No, we don't want you.
I know. Do you ever drive sometimes and you go, oh, I feel so bad for them? Like, thank God that's not me. You just keep driving.
It's just like, what do you, like...
You're like, today is a great day. It's not me.
But one time, actually a couple of times I did hitchhike when I was younger. And...
so you hitchhiked?
I was a hitchhikee.
No.
Hitchhiker.
Who are you to say all these things
100%.
then?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like when you're the hitchhiker, you know you're not dangerous. You're getting in a car, you're risking your life. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's more chances that the hitchhiker is dangerous rather than the person picking you up. I don't know about that. But
I know what you mean.
But you could also, like, refuse your ride. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, I don't want you.
Like,
but you
Uber
can't refuse your hitchhiker.
I don't even know why Uber exists anymore. We should just all start putting a thumbs
100%.
down or up. What is it?
Up. Okay. You're like, I wasn't
Monica's
that girl.
like, up. I've done it.
Bitch. But I'll always remember one time I was walking down the street, and I don't want to say, I mean, technically...
Okay, I need to know where you were in life. Hold on. Give us a background story.
Well, I'm trying to say the story.
When you decided, I'm going to hitchhike.
So there was 2 times. There was 2 times that I hitchhiked.
Your parents never told you, don't get in a car with strangers.
They also said, don't do drugs. They also said...
don't get in, even if they offer you chocolates, don't get in the car.
They didn't offer me anything I got in.
That's the problem with Veronica.
Live life on the edge.
Always striving for less.
So this is what I mean by, like, too nice starts being weird. Like, first of all, I'm walking, and I wasn't even hitchhiking. I was just walking, and it started pouring fucking rain, okay? And I was a kid. I was, like, 15. Because I remember I was in high school and it was like pouring rain, and I was walking to school and I was like, geez, like, fuck me, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And then somebody drives by and stops their car, and I guess they were like, in their eyes, they're probably going, this poor kid, this young girl, she's walking in the rain, let me do the good deed and pick her up. And I go, and it's like a lady. It's like a...
we see a lady, we go safe, but means
wrong.
nothing.
Like,
yeah, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I go, okay, safe.
100%. I say lady, safe. Dog, safe. Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's girl Dexters out there.
1,000,000%.
Anyway. So
I see a lady, she's 50. I stereotype. You're not going to kill me. I get in the car. She's like, I felt so bad. I saw you walking. Like, where are you going? Let me drive you. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Thank you. And then we're driving. But guys, like...
But at this point, you're already poured on. Just walk.
But it's not the same thing as a cab where, like, you're paying for this ride. It's like, what if, like, you're both sitting there, like, thank you for picking me up off the street. Like, I guess this is what it feels like to, I don't know, be a hitchhiker. And then also, like, I'm sitting there wet, and I'm like, but, like, why are you picking me up? Like, no offense. Like, are you gonna kill me? Like, why are you so nice for? Like, was this your...
Like, you do a nice...
Every turn they do, you start going, no, it's this way. Yeah, I know. It's a shortcut. You're like, I'll get off here, actually.
I would literally have my Waze on, or, like, my maps on, just to make sure that the car is going the right way, because you can never trust anybody.
You can't trust anybody, but I'm like, but, like, I get it, you're nice, but, like, why are you so nice that you have to pick up a girl on the side of the road? Like,
yeah.
Am I a victim?
So, I actually got really scared, but when I was in Miami, I used a lot of Lyft instead of Uber.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there was this crazy story. I'm just going to go through it really quickly. In New York, there was a girl staying at her friend's house, and it was like 1 a.m. in the morning, and she was like, I'm just going to take a Lyft. I'm not going to end up sleeping at my friend's house. Anyway, she didn't live far, so she took a Lyft. And the second she got in the Lyft, she found that, like, her driver was being awfully weird, like, super weird. And he was, like, randomly stopping. So, and he was just, like, looking through the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, what the fuck? So she was sensing something was, like, weird. And then she's like, hello, like, why are you stopping? Like, continue going. And at this point, she's already, like, skeptical. So she messages her friend where she just left. She's like, hey, are you up? Question mark. And the friend was like, yes. And then the driver ends up stopping again. And now she sees, like, the driver is, like, just, like, waiting and, like, being sketch. And she sees that there's a white van on the outside of the car.
Yeah. Guys, it's March break. Not that it matters when, you're no longer in elementary school. But it's a great time to get ready for vacation. And, as a girl, we shave our entire bodies. Men, they only have one area to take care of. And how are they going to do that?
Manscaped, guys.
They're going to do that with Manscaped. The best in below-the-waist grooming for men. You can get everything from a ball toner, a ball razor, the weed whacker, which is a nose and ear hair trimmer, which, if they want to go the extra mile, they can also do that. So get them ready for this vacation season.
Yes, they also added to the product line shampoos, lip balms. So basically you go on the website and you use Chemical X at checkout to receive 20% off and free shipping. If you were thinking about it, well, stop thinking about it and start acting.
If maybe you're not going away and, you're sticking to business, then we've got a nice Italian-made bespoke suit for you. And you're going to get it at isotti.com because they're just the best at making tailor-made suits.
We love a man. We love a man, first of all. But we also...
We love men.
We love men, but we love men even more when they're in a suit. So use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off your first suit. And she literally was like, apparently like freaking out. She made a run for it. And she knew that if she kept running straight, because the van started chasing her after.
Okay.
She knew that she was going to be taken.
Yeah.
So she hitched and went another cross route and like was hiding behind cars. And then her friend who was up went to pick her up.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying like, be careful. This is how people in New York are being kidnapped now. Because technically it's like, yeah, the driver drops you off, But then it's like, once you get out of the car, like, where's the safety?
Yeah.
And, like, he was probably waiting for the van to come or whatever. So he was, like, being slow and, like, stopping randomly. And like I think that's when like you really need to, whether you're being in an Uber and a Lyft, you always have to be like don't be on your phone, don't be texting the whole time. Like you actually never know. Like she saved her own life by just being aware, you know, because I feel like you're, as crazy as everything happening, you're like able to like make a run for it, or there's a chance of like saving yourself if 100%. You're aware. If you're not, they would have just taken her.
For sure.
It's crazy.
So scary. I hear so many stories like that. And even like Ubers, like I never get in an, like my thing, and I used to not always do this, but I'll never get in an Uber. I'll always be like, what name is it? And then I wait until they say, like I never say, oh, Uber for Veronica.
Yeah, me too.
I never say that because I want to know, like, are you my fucking Uber? Because I've just heard so many stories of people pretending to be Ubers. But the thing is it was her Lyft. But for sure.
When they gang up on you with a third party, you don't know what the fuck. You never know.
So scary.
And maybe like she was a pretty girl or whatever, and they like kind of like send the call once. I don't know how it works, but it's really scary.
I mean, to be honest,
now I never want to get in a Lyft again.
And what are we gonna do when we're drunk? Lyft. There's been a couple of times in the past when it comes to like Uber and Uber Eats and stuff. What I find scary is, you know, obviously everyone's an employee. Like, it's not that I'm out here not trusting people, and I'm very trustworthy. Like, I'm not scared of getting of those things. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're more paranoid.
Oh,
I'm really not paranoid at all. But there's still things that I find weird. Like, for example, one time there was like an Uber Eats driver that was like asking me for my number after, like, you're so pretty. But I was just like, I don't feel comfortable that you know where I live. Like, you know my address. You saw inside my house. You know which apartment I live in. Like, that shit scares me. And a lot of times when I order food by myself and I go pick it up, like, I'm really afraid because all I think is like, this guy could literally just open the door and come in my house. Like, it's scary. Not everyone is a good person, and that's what sticks with me, you know? You're just like kind of like hoping that like you're getting good people all the time, but not everyone is like good. I don't know. That shit scares me. And that's what I mean by like, sometimes you think people are so nice, like they're doing nice deeds for you, you know, I'll walk you home. Another thing is like when somebody buys you a drink, you know, they always say like, don't take a drink that you haven't seen poured, you know? And me, I'm at the bar, a guy brings me a shot, and what am I gonna say? No? Like, I feel bad, but like
you
also
look
like
at it, you go, I'm not buying these drinks myself, so I mean, I'll take the risk.
If it's a sketch person, like, and you brought the drinks over to me, chances are I actually won't drink it.
Yeah.
But
I'll pull the whole,
you know
like,
what I mean,
I'll put it down, or I'll pretend to sip it.
Yeah. I've had times where somebody would be like, I'll get us shots, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, I'll come to the bar with you. And they're like, no, don't worry, like, I'll just grab them. And they're probably thinking they're a gentleman, but I'm here thinking, okay, so you're trying to date rape me then.
Yeah.
So you're trying to jug me. Like... And I'm like, no, I'll come with you. No, it's fine. Sit at the table. No, I'll come to the bar with you. I want to see the drink being poured, bitch. Yeah. Let me do my shit. I don't know. I just feel like that's the crazy thing is you think you're being nice, or you think somebody's being nice. Like, you think you're doing a good deed, or you think somebody's doing a good deed. And then it's literally, that's what's crazy, that niceness is what gets you in these situations, you know? I always wish that I could be that girl that's a fucking bitch to everyone. You know, like the people that you say like, hey baby, you're hot, and they're like, fuck off. Like, I always wish I could be that girl. I'm like, I'm running. I'm speed walking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know what you mean.
But speaking of being nice and getting yourself fucked over, can we talk about the Tinder Swindler?
Yes. Guys, good morning, good afternoon to everyone except Simon from Tinder Swindler. If you have not watched Tinder Swindler, I can never pronounce it. Tongue twister. It is a tongue twister. Well, it's a show that came out on Netflix, and basically it's a guy who was on Tinder, and to sum it up, he was showing these girls that he was talking to this crazy lifestyle, that he's like a jeweler and all these things, and telling them that like he flies private, and he's showing them a lifestyle that they can have if they're with him, which, you know, a lot of girls, including me, honestly, would be like, oh my god, he's cute, and he's young, and he's into me, and he takes private jets, and like rich. What a lifestyle that would be to like be with him. And at the beginning, he pulls through, so he really shows you that it's not just a dream. Like, this is the life you'd have if you'd be with him. His whole technique, basically, is once he does that, he starts to ask the girls for money. And he's starting to say, like, his enemies are after him. And it's this whole, like, fake story so that the girls are already in. They're committed. They know he's successful. And then they want to help him out because, what did I say at the beginning of the episode? When you're a girl, you want to nurture, you want to help. And you start to not see clearly. And that's what happened. He ended up scamming like a bunch of girls for money, and like girls were taking out loans for him. And he's just like living this lavish lifestyle and swiping. Meanwhile, the girls, like, they're thinking she's helping her man who has enemies after her, and really they're just getting fucked up. And it's very hard to like accuse someone or put someone in jail and consider it fraud when technically the girl is willingly giving the money. So it's hard to frame someone who...
because it's not technically fraud.
No.
He said he was going to pay them back, but he didn't, you know? Like, people
like fake watches, like a bunch of shit.
Like, also, I heard he was saying, like, he was going to wire them money, and then the money wasn't getting wired, and then they would send screenshots, and then, like, it was very persuasive, and...
I feel like I've seen a lot of memes that were like, haha, like, the second he asks me to pull out a loan, like... I'm not doing that, like, fuck off. But I will say, it's very easy to say something like that when you're not actually the one in the situation, you know? It's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, she was so stupid, or how did she not know? Yeah, guys, watching the document, it's so easy to say, oh my god, why did she give him the money? But, like, I feel like, you know, when you're being manipulated and when someone's showing you a lifestyle, you're like, well, it's a little for a big exchange, you know? Like, I'm going to help him with this, and, like, it's only going to make us closer, or, you know, you don't think somebody's trying to fraud you.
For sure. Like, you would never think that, especially when you're technically in a relationship with somebody, like, and they're showing you they have money. You have no reason to doubt. First of all, you would never doubt, like, somebody's living. I can't explain it. It's not something that you go like, oh, it's not real. You just assume what people are telling you is real, especially when it's an elaborate story. So, like, the people that are saying, like, oh, it couldn't be me, would never be me, like, you're lying. Like, it would be all of us, guys. Like, I don't think people understand the power of persuasion and the power of manipulation. When somebody really makes you believe something, like, somebody can make you believe really anything, and...
Like, I feel like it could already happen if, like, somebody is not of, like, that wealthy category, you know, where you're, like, you want to help and you feel bad. But could you imagine you're, like, being persuaded into somebody who's showing you a lifestyle that you're, like, obviously they're not here to use me for my money.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like, I cannot imagine. And these girls are, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, one girl has $500,000 in debt. Like, do you know how crazy that is?
Yeah, he's, like, scammed over, like, 10 million off girls. Wow. I feel like that's, like, two things to digest. One, that the relationship was never real. And two, that, like, they're stuck with this whole debt. That's crazy. I would literally go crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was thinking about, like, if I would have $500,000 in debt, like, I actually think I would, like, no offense, like, I don't know what I would do. Your whole life, you're working to pay off a debt that you didn't even acquire, and trying to pay off a debt just puts you more in debt because of the interest and because of anything. Like, how do you wake up and think, like, oh yeah, I want to live my life? Like, what a hopeless feeling. I mean, I think it's the type of... I think people are overlooking how much it's manipulation and how much it's, like, abusive, because you know, when somebody's in an abusive relationship, people will be like, well, why didn't you get out? Like, why did you stay? They almost, like, blame you for staying in, like, the manipulative or toxic or abusive relationship. But it's like, you don't understand, when you're in it, you don't see, like, you're so convinced that this person is going to change, that they didn't mean it, that it's fine, that you don't realize, like, you know what I mean? And it's something only after you look back. And I think you can never accuse somebody of staying in something like that, just like you can't accuse these girls for doing what was technically the right thing to do. Like, if you have a boyfriend and you love him and he's promising you a life together.
The twist shouldn't be, wow, they're such idiots giving money. It's like, wow, they were actually such nice people and wanting to help their partner. Yeah. You know?
It's just so funny how, like, you know, people...
But, like, I do know, like, they're watching, and then he's like, well, can you take out another loan? And he's, like, begging and asking for more and more. It's like, okay, like, girl, when are you going to realize? But at the same time...
Well, I'm not going to lie, he wouldn't be too successful with me. They'd be like, Mama, we could give you 500. he's gonna go, listen, I found someone else. Already, I feel like money in relationships is weird.
It's so weird.
So when somebody asks you for money, I feel like it's almost like you don't want to put that tension of being like, no. Like, you want to be like...
For sure. And let's say you didn't have it and you, like, really like your partner. You almost, like I said, like, you find a way. In a way, you're like, okay, well, I don't want harm for this guy, or I don't want him to feel this way, so, like, let me try and help. Which is, like...
It's so... I also think another thing, I feel like in this, like, generation that we're in, we have this really big... there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of different opposing beliefs, but I think there's one really strong belief of, like, the whole, like, ride or die, like, I'm gonna be your ride or die, like, we're gonna date from, like, the bottom and we're gonna work up together, and, like, I'm gonna be here for you from the bottom. Like, you hear all those stories of, like, people before they got famous, or, like, people before they were big athletes and how they were poor and she was giving him money and this and that, and, like, everyone wants to be that, like, or there's, like, a lot of people who want to be that ride or die person who
they want to be that rock for their partner.
Yeah, they're willing to stand by you, they're willing to help you when you're down, and they know, like, eventually we'll get out of it. And, like, I feel like that's also that situation. Like, you're trying to show, like, okay, well, I'm here for you. Like, I'm not gonna just drop you because you don't have money. Like, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna be here for you. I'm gonna be your ride or die. But it's fucking you over, you know? Like, and a lot of people get fucked over by that whole ride or die style of dating, because then, you know, somebody takes advantage of, you know, one person takes advantage, or it works out. But, you know, it's very easy to be taken advantage of when somebody's riding for you and doing what they can for you, and then it's very easy for you to say, thanks for all the help, see ya.
So here's my thing about, like, being a ride or die for somebody and why I could never be that. So I think my biggest fear is, like, getting older and knowing, like, I didn't leave this planet and did something that, like, changed the life, or, like, just anything, and anything for me to show for myself, to make myself proud so that I'm happy.
Yeah.
My fear with that is that, like, I'm just in the shadows of somebody else, and then, you know, you spent all that time being somebody else's rock, but they have all these accomplishments, and then what are you in the background? Just the cheerleader? Like,
I mean, I think
I don't know. I don't. And it's not to say that they're not doing anything, you know, they could be, like, providing, like, handling the kids and everything. But I think, like, I don't know, for me, I just, like, wouldn't want to, like, receive everything, like, and then just be, like, the shadow girl, and then, like, get out of it, or be, like, 40 and be like, what's happening with my life?
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. But I think in a relationship like that, it's almost like, in a proper relationship like that, I feel like it's, like, it ebbs and flows of who's the one that's being the rock, if that makes sense. It's like you're riding for somebody, and, like, when they're in a tough spot, and then,
but then
sometimes you're in a tough spot, you know what I mean? And then it's like, you know, there's I feel like it ebbs and flows. But what I do find, basically, there's, like, you know, ride or die for me is also dating for potential. And you know how, like, there's that whole thing now, don't date for potential, like, date somebody who's already what you want them to be. And, like, it's very hard because, especially at our age, the way that I see this whole, like, dating for potential thing is, at our age, like, 25, how many people have really gotten to where they want to be in their life? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, and even us, are not where we want to be career-wise or, like, in life. So it's like, how is somebody going to date us if we haven't reached, you know, like, people are going to date us for our potential of, like, who we want to be. And, like, that's just in turn what we end up doing is we're dating people for who they're going to be, because we're too young to, like, date for, like, okay, they're already successful, they're already this, they're already financial. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that, you know, that they're eventually going to get there, and you know that you want to grow with them there. But it's just a matter of time, because, like, we're still young. But then there's also that thing where you're going to get into a relationship for the potential of what somebody could be, and then they don't end up being that person, you know? So it's very, like, it's hard. Like, you want to say, like, okay, date somebody who you are happy with who they are now. But at our age, I just feel like no one is really where they want to be, you know? Everybody's, like, trying to get somewhere.
I mean, that's definitely something to think about. But, like, I don't know. I think for me now, like, I don't know if I would look at it that way. I think I'm a bit, like, I wouldn't date somebody for potential. Like, even though they could say the same about me, like, I wouldn't date somebody for potential. I wouldn't. Like, I would want somebody who would be like my rock, you know? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just like where I'm at now. I don't want to date someone who I feel like I'm still climbing up the rope with. No, I want the rope to already be climbed and now he's helping me climb.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's like two ways. Like when you're 20, you know, unless you're dating older people, like, yeah, but it's very hard to say, yeah, I'm going to date you. But I'm talking about potential career-wise. Like, it's different to say, like, the potential of who you can be as a person. Because I think that's another thing, too. Like, we date people because we see the good in them. But, like, we're waiting for the day, you know, they're good.
So I'm going to get deep with you now. So you're saying how, like, we're technically not where we want to be. But do you ever think we'll be where we want to be? Like, do you feel like you'll ever hit a stage where you're like, I'm happy, I have accomplished this, this, and this, and I'm, like, okay with it? Because I feel like the more you start to accomplish, the more you just have bigger goals. And I don't know how happy we are with what we have when we're continuing to strive for more. So, like, yes, I see what you're saying, like, being happy with where you are and accepting, like, where you've become. But I don't know. I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to say once we get to where we are, but do you think we'll still be satisfied when we get to where we are?
No, but that goes hand in hand.
But that's literally life.
Yeah, but that goes hand in hand in the saying, like, what you can't date for potential because you should like the person you're with right now. You know what I mean? Just like you can't, you know, even yourself, it's like you should be happy with who you are now and not always like looking towards this future and like, but because it's always going to be changing, right?
And I guess I would date for potential if I knew that they were really passionate about what they were doing and you knew that like nothing was going to stop them.
Yeah.
Like that's like you want to be with somebody who's super like ambitious. Yeah. So I guess in that sense, yes. But there's got to be some kind of like...
I think you're not willing to be with somebody who's like at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like,
is
it's
that
like
bad to say? Is that
not
mean?
Really. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's the ride or dies, and then there's the people that are like against, like, want to just go into a relationship that's like you've already did the struggle. Like, why do I have to go backwards?
I think
now?
for me, it's like if I have to be somewhere with a guy who's potential, then I rather actually. Like, for me, like, I'm working on my shit. Like, I'd rather just do it alone and then be with somebody who's already done the work on their own and is, like, where I'm at. Like,
yeah.
So, I think, like, for me, I won't settle for somebody who's, like, at the same stage as me, for sure.
Right.
Because then I'll just stay alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. It depends.
I think it's, like, just, like, an age thing. Like, as you get older, like, you start having certain, like, limits of like what you're willing to accept. It's like, you know, when you're dating and you're 20, you don't care if they live at home, but when you're dating when you're 28, you're like, no, I need a guy who's already moved out, lived on his own. You know what I mean? Like, your standards and like what you're dating for changes. I also think
it's like women, we mature a lot quicker than men, which is why I feel like a lot of women tend to date older guys because you don't feel like when you're talking, like if I were to be talking to a 26-year-old and he hasn't had like crazy life experiences or he's not really well traveled or like there's certain things, then I would be like, I don't know, I wouldn't feel like it would work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I also think though in another sense of where I really think that you shouldn't date for potential is when it has nothing to do career-wise and when it more has to do with like who somebody could be. Like, you know, like you... Obviously, like you said, we always try to make excuses for people. Like, when you like somebody, you try to make excuses and you try to see the best in them and you try to be like, well, it's because, like, the stars haven't aligned for him yet. You know what I mean? Like, and I think where you can't date for potential is when it's, like, who they actually are, like, their character. Even though you see the best in them and you see, like, who they really could be, this, like, best guy and, like, they could be so nice, they could be so ambitious, they could be, you know, because you see that in them, but... Those are things that you shouldn't date for,
also,
you know?
Another thing, I feel like if you're talking to somebody who you see potential in and they're so ambitious, like, chances are they're not even probably going to let you in at that point in their life. Depends, but I feel like it's a big thing. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's potential career and then there's potential of who somebody is just as a person. Like, if you're dating a guy who has potential to be a good guy, just character-wise, like, that's the wrong thing. Like, you should date somebody who you respect their character and you respect, like, their ways and who they are now, like, regardless of career. I'm talking, like, you know, if you want a guy who's ambitious, like, you're not going to go after somebody who could be ambitious, who talks like they're ambitious, but really they're not, you know? Like, but they have the potential to be, like, that's where I feel like people go wrong, is especially as women, like you said, we see the best, we make excuses. We see like, okay, well, I'm sure if like, after this, he's going to start to be calmer. He's not going to be as angry, because he could really be a calm person. He could be really understanding, but we work through it. That's where it goes wrong, because then you start waiting on a person that you built that they could be, but they're never going to match up to, And I think often we do that when we're younger. We like feel like, oh, this person like could be so great if we have this relationship, and if I fix this about them, and if we work on these certain aspects, but then it never ends up working because they're just not that person,
Sure.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Let's say you're like dating somebody who's like super successful, okay? I never understood like the girls who like are in that stage and they're just like kind of like the shadow, like they're dating them and they're the rock, but they're not working on anything themselves. Because I feel like that's the biggest waste of like time. And I know it sounds really crazy, but it's like, especially when you have that person who's like there to help you, like don't waste that time, like use it, like you have an outlet, somebody's willing to help you and stuff. Like don't just because you know that this person is successful and you can kind of like skis by them, don't not start your own thing, or don't have something that's like meaningful to you, because I feel like that's when like most relationships don't feel equal. They don't feel like they're like at par, I don't know. Does that make sense?
I agree, but only like out of a personal opinion, because I think some people want that. Like, I know a lot of people who would be more than happy to just sit by and do whatever they want and not have to worry about a thing. I think that just comes from, like, your personal, and even I'm the same way of, like, we see that as, like, oh, my God, I would be doing so much for that.
Well, I think my stress in that is, like, I date a rich guy, and then, like, I feel like at any point, because money is power at the end of the day, and I feel like if I was dating somebody who was super successful, and I was just in the shadows, and everything I had wasn't really mine, my anxiety would kick in. Like, he could drop me at any second.
Yeah.
And maybe you're with the guy who's gonna, tell you, like, no. Yeah. But, like, I would never feel okay knowing that, like, somebody is just, like at any point, they can just drop you and, like, you're technically, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna be with somebody who's there, then you should be working on something that you can have for yourself so that you're not fucked. Like, I think it's a smart move to date a rich guy, but if you're just in the shadows and you're not using that time to capitalize on yourself and what you could do.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just think that some people might not see the same way, just out of their own personal wants. But another thing about, you just reminded me, when it comes to ride or die, something that I see so crazy, and I think this would be like, if I was dating somebody from the bottom and, we really grinded our way to the top, and I was there for them in the lows and they were there for me in my lows, and like we finally got to the top, and it's like, you see this a lot with like,
also.
Yeah, but you see this a lot with like athletes and celebrities, where they had that one person, their girlfriend, their wife, whatever, or it could even be like the husband, literally was their ride or die, and then they got all this fame, they got all this stuff, and then they just dropped them and they went for someone better, because that saying, like, it's easy not to cheat when nobody wants to sleep with you, that whole like thing. I think that's from Wolf of Wall Street, actually. But basically it's just like the idea that, like, yeah, it's easy not to cheat when you don't have 50 girls throwing themselves at you. Like, when you're rich and you're famous and you're successful and you reach everything, you're not valuing the relationship the same way as when you guys were both literally in the dust. And that is what would scare me if I would be with somebody from the bottom. Once you get to the top, like, are we, like, what happens there? What happens when we get to the top? Like, now you're super successful and you just leave me for someone else, and I literally was there for you, grinding for you.
Well, that's why I'm saying you always need to have something to show for yourself. So this way, if shit hits the fan, that, like, you have you.
But I think it's so important financially
to still have yourself.
100%. But I don't even mean financially. I just mean, like, the effort and, like, the emotion, like, the emotional support that you have to give. Even if you guys both become super successful, super famous, whatever. Like, just everything that you've invested into this relationship and all the struggles you've been through for them to get to that point, for you to get to that point. And then, they hit that level of, like, success where they can have anything they want and they choose something better, quote unquote, than you. that's like would be fucked. You know what I mean? Like, and I see that happen so much with people who, they have the love of their life, and then they become famous, and suddenly it's like, oh well, you were the love of my life until Leonardo DiCaprio wanted to sleep with me. You know what I mean?
Right. Like the grass isn't always greener. Like, I feel like a lot of people want to get rich so that they can get the car, they can get the watch, they can get the girls. Like, to every single person, it's a different reasoning for wanting to get there. So it's like, yeah, you might have had your ride or die, but now you've never experienced having this much money. Like,
it's hard.
How do you not want to explore?
Yeah. That's why I think that would be something, if I had the choice of being with somebody when they were small and riding with them until they were big, or dating somebody and they're already super successful, I would choose the second one, just because of that simple fact that when I know somebody's successful, I know that they have already the 50 options, but they're choosing me.
Right.
I feel like when you're starting from the bottom, I'm the only option, and then you still need to choose me when there's 50 other options. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it feels more secure when they're choosing you and they have all these options.
Yes.
Which is,
and they've also lived
the wrong way to think about it, but
they've also lived more.
It's just like, okay, now we're getting into this relationship, like, you've experienced having all these people throwing themselves at you.
But it also depends the person and their morals. You know, like
for sure.
Everyone wants to be successful or whatever for different reasons, whether it's to help family or like, but yeah, I could definitely see how like the temptation of like
being successful can change. Like, I if you look at Wolf of Wall Street, it's the perfect example. He loved his wife. They had their amazing, like, life together, and he grew, he got successful, and then he started cheating on her, and then he started sleeping with all these parties, and then he found his other girl, and then, that's when he finds, and it's just like, that's what it is, and that's scary. Like, think of the wife who literally was his ride or die at the beginning when they were broke. She was there for him, and then, when the other, when Margot Robbie comes around, you don't say no to Margot Robbie, guys. So I think it's really crazy. Sometimes we want to be this like rock. We want to be like this amazing person for them. But then you go for what? For you to leave me at the end? Which is the wrong way to think about it. But nevertheless, we think about it.
Yeah.
We think about it.
We think about everything. Are we just talking what's on our online?
But I think about that often. And I also think that it's very different between men and women. Because I think for a man, 90% of the time they want success. Men buy cars to impress women. Okay, not all men, but like a lot of the time, guys who have money will flex to get girls. Like the reason they're wearing the designer, the reason they have the car, they have the watch, is to get girls. Like, people who have money and they don't give a fuck, like, they're not even showing it. They're not trying to pull girls with it. But the people who are trying to show, it's like, in the end, chances are they're trying to get girls with that money. And it's just like a lot of times men see money as like a way to get any girl they want. It's almost like the fast pass at Disney, like whatever girl you want, suddenly you can have her. And I feel like that's how guys see money, whereas girls, we feel like we can kind of get anyone. So for us to make a lot of money or not, it doesn't change. Like, we wouldn't cheat on somebody more because we're making more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
that really makes sense.
I've never seen somebody be like, oh, I'm a millionaire, I'm going to cheat on my, like, but the opposite. I have. I guess, guys, I don't know. Don't date for potential. Date for potential. Don't date for potential. Pick up the hitchhiker. Don't.
I think in all this, for me, it's like whatever you want to do. You want to date for potential. You want to date a rich guy. I think it's really important just to have something for yourself.
Yeah. Whatever you do,
I just don't see myself still being happy because I'm dating a rich guy and he's giving me everything I want. If I know I have things and goals for myself and I'm not receiving them, like, I still don't know how happy I am, no matter what trips I'm doing, no matter what you're buying me, no matter what lifestyle you're giving me, you know? Because realistically, any girl could have that if they want to.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with men, too, is like, how do I get a girl who, like, is, I think that's another thing, men, and why they equate money to girls is because they know that that's something the girls like, so they feel like they need to get there in order to get the girl.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's
I think it's still like they deal with their own like demons in that sense.
For
where
sure.
It's like they know you can leave them for the next guy and
who has more money. Like, it's the same thing.
And if anything, like you said, a guy will date a girl who's not successful.
And I feel like that's the struggle. It's like when you're small, the guy feels like the girl is going to leave them for a richer guy. And when you're big, the girl feels like he's going to leave me for a prettier girl. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like the shallow down fear.
But I think you only feel that way when you feel like you're your man's shadow. Yeah, I think if you have your own things going for you, I don't know if you're gonna feel that way in your relationship. I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Because when you're working on your shit and you're confident and you're making money, I don't think you care.
I would care if my boyfriend was cheating on me.
No, I'm not saying that, but that's not what I mean.
Less worried, I guess.
Because you know what you bring to the table. For example, if you feel like you're not really giving anything, then you feel like you're easily replaceable.
Yeah.
You only feel replaceable if you feel like you're not doing
enough.
Wow,
words of wisdom.
Oh my gosh.
So, don't take out a loan for a guy. How about that? How about that
one? Don't take out a loan for a guy. And we have dinner plans, so let's go get wasted.
Let's go. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye, guys.